the dangerous illusion of happiness, Nietzsche's antidote to fragility. In recent years, an idea has been relentlessly repeated, echoed like a pervasive mantra across self-help guides, motivational speeches, and every corner of social media. The ultimate goal of life is to be happy. This seemingly harmless phrase is treated as an absolute, almost sacred truth. It's taught from childhood, embedded in advertising slogans, and aggressively reinforced by coaches and influencers who promise magical, effortless formulas to achieve a permanent, tranquil state of well-being. The core message is chillingly clear. If you are not happy, something is fundamentally wrong with you. And if you are suffering, you have an immediate moral obligation to fix it, treat it, or rid yourself of that pain at any cost. But what if this idea, instead of being liberating, is precisely the trap that is imprisoning you? What if this modern, obsessive pursuit of happiness is actually making you more fragile, emotionally unstable, and increasingly dependent on shallow external circumstances just to feel momentarily good? Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher many still instinctively avoid for fear of facing uncomfortable truths, brutally and directly denounced this illusion over a century ago. For him, this blind pursuit of happiness is not only futile, it is dangerous. It is the clearest symptom of a decadent, decaying culture. A culture that has deliberately traded inner strength for comforting emotional anesthesia. Nietzsche saw in this widely marketed promise of happiness a decadent worldview, which he fiercely called slave morality, sklavenmoral. An ethics that values fleeting comfort over profound overcoming, passive conformity over aggressive courage, and immediate shallow relief from pain over genuine transformation through it. According to Nietzsche, a generation systematically educated to believe that life should always be pleasant is in fact being prepared for an inevitable psychic collapse, because suffering is not optional, it is intrinsic to existence, and those who do not possess the tools to transform it will inevitably succumb to it. The happiness they are selling today is fundamentally fragile. It depends entirely on factors you do not and cannot control. Compliments, likes, money, job stability, external validation. And when these elements inevitably disappear, as they always will, what exactly remains? Nietzsche forces us to confront this question with brutal existential seriousness. He proposes an alternative that seems harsh at first glance, but carries within it an immense transformative power. Stop chasing happiness and start cultivating strength. Not mere physical strength, but strength of spirit, psychological resilience, and the raw ability to transmute suffering into growth, frustration into clarity, and pain into profound self-knowledge. "What does not kill me makes me stronger" is not a tired motivational catchphrase. It is a declaration of war against a culture that infantilizes us and makes us slaves to constant, predictable pleasure. Nietzsche understood that true power does not come from skillfully avoiding suffering, but from fearlessly facing it, from looking pain directly in the eye and declaring, "You will not destroy me, you will only forge me." His proposal is radical. Abandon the question, "How can I be happy?" and adopt a new, powerful question as the guiding principle for your entire life. How can I become stronger? In this comprehensive journey, we will dismantle the farce of happiness as a life goal. We will understand precisely why this obsession is weakening you, how Nietzsche predicted this decadence with chilling accuracy, and what the alternative path truly is. More difficult, yes, but infinitely more powerful. The path of unshakable inner strength, the trap of fragility, slave morality, and toxic positivity. We live in an age where happiness has become not just a desire, but a harsh obligation. It is treated as an inalienable right, as if any feeling of sadness, boredom, or frustration were a clear sign of personal failure. You are required to be happy at work, in your relationships, and especially on social media. You need to smile, be perpetually productive, and remain at peace all the time. And if you fail, then something must be wrong with you. Something that needs to be instantly fixed, treated, bought, or aesthetically erased. This modern, relentless narrative is fueled by a multi-billion-dollar industry that sells happiness as a guaranteed product. Books, endless courses, spiritual gurus, and influencers promise quick, effortless formulas. Meditate for 10 minutes. Repeat positive affirmations. Maintain a gratitude mindset. Organize your routine. Buy this app. Avoid bad vibes. Distance yourself from toxic people. The message is seductive. Follow this path and you will be happy. Guaranteed. But Nietzsche saw right through this lie. For him, this obsessive pursuit of happiness as the purpose of life is not only childish, but deeply corrosive. It creates emotionally dependent, fragile individuals, utterly unable to cope with any form of adversity. People who build their entire identity on quicksand. When they are happy, they feel alive. When they are not, they completely lose their anchor, their sense of existence. This is the very essence of the slave morality Nietzsche described. An ethics based on the systematic denial of suffering, the refusal of discomfort, and the dependence on external rewards to validate one's existence. In this morality, everything that is difficult, painful, or demanding is instantly labeled as an enemy, and the individual transforms into someone who lives in perpetual flight. Flight from pain, flight from loneliness, flight from failure, flight from true responsibility. They do not live with courage. They survive with constant fear. The decadence of victimhood. Nietzsche argued that this type of morality does not produce free or strong human beings. It produces servants, people who need the world to perpetually cooperate in their favor just to feel stable. But the world does not cooperate. Life is neither fair nor concerned with your comfort, and sooner or later it violently exacts its price. Those who build their psyche on the false expectation that everything will go right inevitably shatter when things inevitably go wrong. The culture of happiness has created a generation that confuses well-being with meaning, pleasure with purpose, and that despairs at the slightest sign of distress. We see this manifested in toxic positivity, the aggressive, forced, cheerful denial of legitimate pain. It is the belief that if you simply think happy thoughts, reality will bend to your will. This is a profound spiritual denial, a refusal to engage with the reality of suffering, which is the very ground from which depth and empathy grow. Nietzsche knew that true life begins when the individual stops protecting themselves from pain and starts using it as a tool. When they abandon the illusion that life should be comfortable and accept that it is challenging by nature and that this is not a problem, but a singular opportunity. It is precisely at this point that we enter the heart of Nietzsche's liberating proposal. Because if happiness is a trap, what should take its place as the center of human existence? His answer is as provocative as it is ultimately liberating. Strength. Not the strength to dominate others, but the absolute strength to dominate oneself. The will to power. The alchemist of suffering. The will to power as internal mastery. If happiness as a goal generates profound fragility, Nietzsche offers us a radical, transformative antidote, the will to power, Wille zur Macht. It is essential to understand that this concept, frequently and destructively misunderstood, has nothing to do with external domination or petty conquest. It is about internal mastery, a force that emerges not from comfort, but from the brutal confrontation with pain, from wrestling with the raw reality of existence, and from the courage to look within without averting one's gaze. Nietzsche proposed that life should not be lived in pursuit of pleasure or comfort, but as an existential battlefield where the individual tests, owns, and powerfully affirms themselves in the face of adversity. The will to power is the force that compels us to transcend our own limits, to grow not despite suffering, but through it. It is a philosophy that demands brutal courage because it forces us to abandon all comfortable, childish illusions and face life as it truly is: harsh, unpredictable, and often indifferent. This will is not a fragile desire or a fleeting motivation sold in self-help videos. It is a primitive, existential, and creative force, a life drive that refuses to settle for safety or cheap approval. The will to power demands risks. It requires you to move toward what you fear, to consciously choose the harder path, to not only endure pain, but to transform it into fuel. Nietzsche saw suffering as an alchemical process, a raw, unstable material that, when faced with honesty and without self-pity, converts into strength, clarity, and depth. His famous declaration, "Out of the school of war of life, what does not kill me makes me stronger," is not a cliché. It is a brutal synthesis of a life lived with philosophical intensity, a life where each scar is a visible badge of honor, not a hidden mark of weakness. The individual guided by the will to power does not seek comfort, they seek overcoming. They do not want life to be easy. They want to become someone capable of facing any life. They understand that fleeing from pain is merely perpetuating one's own weakness, and that true strength is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to transform it into something greater. Here is where Nietzsche's philosophy diverges entirely from modern culture. While the world screams, "Take the easier path," Nietzsche whispers, "Go where the weight is. Face what frightens you. Choose the discomfort that strengthens you instead of the pleasure that merely numbs you." This is the defining difference between living as a slave to fleeting emotions and living as a conscious creator of one's own destiny. The paradox of autonomy, freedom through burden. By abandoning the desperate pursuit of happiness and embracing the conscious construction of inner strength, something profound and unexpected occurs. Those who stop chasing pleasure and begin to develop psychological power discover a form of satisfaction that goes far beyond momentary euphoria. A profound sense of integrity, of autonomy, of being able to endure, fall, and rise with one's own strength. Superficial happiness, the kind modern culture idolizes, is always ephemeral. It depends entirely on external factors: the mood of others, job stability, social media status, social acceptance. When everything aligns, you feel good. But just one instability can cause that fragile castle to crumble. When it falls, you lose not only the state of happiness, you lose your entire footing. Nietzsche invites us to step beyond this fragile dance between pleasure and pain. He proposes a form of deep satisfaction that cannot be destroyed by adversities because it is fundamentally built through them. This satisfaction stems from the acute, unshakable awareness that you are someone who endures. You do not need everything to be perfect to remain steadfast. You have consciously learned to transform the deepest pains into catalysts for strength, clarity, and existential maturity. This type of fulfillment is not visible. It does not attract applause or garner likes, but it is solid, unbreakable, because it relies not on illusions or external rewards, but on the inner truth of who you have become. It is born when you face your own vulnerability without running, when you consciously bear the weight of the world without letting it break you inside. Nietzsche knew that this path requires pain, which is why almost no one chooses it. It demands sacrifice. It requires giving up the comfort zone, easy certainties, and shortcuts. But it offers something that no shortcut can provide: inner pride. Not the vain pride that needs external acknowledgement, but the silent, profound pride of knowing that you are becoming someone that even chaos cannot destroy. The great irony reveals itself. It is precisely when you stop desperately seeking happiness that you begin to experience something much closer to true fulfillment. Not because life has become easier, but because you have become stronger. And this strength allows you to find beauty even amidst pain, purpose even in crisis, and peace even in chaos. This is not happiness, it is depth. The final revolution. The choice to become. Most people spend their entire lives asking the wrong, paralyzing question: how can I be happier? This question carries a fatal trap. It assumes that the ideal state is comfort, pleasure, and the absence of pain. By making this your goal, you become a slave to every external force that can threaten your happiness: circumstances, opinions, losses, and uncertainties. Nietzsche proposes a violent, necessary shift at this starting point. He challenges us to change the question entirely. Instead of asking, "How can I be happy?" he insists we ask, "How can I become stronger?" This question changes everything because it does not seek to avoid suffering. It asks how to transform it. It does not seek pleasure, it seeks power, the power to resist, to grow, to transform in the face of adversity. Asking this question requires courage because it forces you to look at the parts of yourself you normally avoid. It compels you to stop outsourcing blame, to stop hiding behind excuses, to stop protecting yourself with superficial distractions. It puts you face to face with your own inherent weakness and demands that you confront it without anesthesia, without escape. Becoming stronger is not a feeling, it is a rigorous practice. It is acting firmly when it would be easier to give in. It is maintaining your core principles even when they put you in direct conflict with the world. It is facing loneliness, rejection, and failure, and emerging on the other side with more clarity, more structure, and more presence. It is enduring anguish without succumbing to despair. It is walking upright even when everything around you is crumbling. This strength is not given. It is built brick by brick, choice by choice. Every time you avoid the easy route and choose the necessary one. Every time you face fear instead of fleeing from it. Every time you refuse to be a victim and take full responsibility for your own rigorous evolution. Nietzsche saw the human being as a process of constant, self-driven transformation. We are not here to be happy, we are here to become something greater than ourselves, to evolve, to forge a character that is utterly unshakable in the face of life's inevitable tragedies. That is why he said we must become who we really are, werde, der du bist. And this is only possible when we stop seeking comfort and start relentlessly seeking overcoming. The deepest irony is revealed by asking ourselves, how can I become stronger? We free ourselves. We stop depending on a world that will never be stable or fair, and we start depending on our own powerful ability to face it. The final implication, a stronger psyche. The storm will not stop. The world will not slow down to wait for you. Losses will come. Crises will violently catch up with you. The people you love may disappoint you. And the plans that seemed certain will crumble sooner or later. This is the brutal, non-negotiable reality of existence. Nietzsche taught us that freedom is not found in changing the world. It is found in becoming the kind of person who can navigate this world without being destroyed by it. You do not need an easier life. You need a stronger internal structure. You need to develop the courage to face pain without resorting to victimhood, the resilience to rise even after losing everything, and the clarity to maintain your integrity even when chaos tries to corrupt you. This is the true strength Nietzsche exalted, the strength of those who choose truth over illusion, growth over comfort, and responsibility over escape. While the majority live to avoid pain, the strong learn to shape it. They transform suffering into wisdom, failure into strategy, and rejection into freedom. They are the ones who do not beg for a more generous fate, but build with their own hands a character capable of enduring any destiny. They stand tall when everything collapses, not because they are cold or indifferent, but because they have deep, unshakable roots. Nietzsche saw this process as an inner sculpture, a constant chiseling of oneself, where each blow of life serves to reveal the most solid, truest form of your being. The more you endure, the more you reveal yourself. The more you face, the more you know yourself. And the more you resist, the more power you gain. Not over the world, but over yourself. And that is the only power that no one can ever take from you. So if you followed this entire journey, you should now understand. Happiness was never the path. It is an occasional, temporary consequence, not a sustainable destination. What you truly need is to become someone strong enough to traverse any path. The storm will not stop, but you can become the kind of person who survives it, who walks through the chaos with firmness, with clarity, with dignity, and who looks at their own pain and says, "This too will forge me." Now I want to make you a critical, powerful invitation. Leave in the comments what is the pain you need to transform into strength. It doesn't need to be a long text. It can be a single word, a phrase, a silent confession. But write it down, because the very first step towards strength is to stop fleeing. And sharing this with others who are here in this same quest is already a powerful act of self-affirmation. If this video confronted you, awakened you, or even profoundly disturbed you, it has fulfilled its role. But the journey doesn't end here. The next video is also essential. It will take you even deeper into this confrontation with truth and the building of an unshakable self. Keep watching. See you there.